in association with the Global Television Network. The high water mark in the Maple Leafs season occurred last December 12th when the Montreal Canadiens came to town. Some said the Leaf-Montreal rivalry was dead, but you couldn't tell from the crowd that night. The Leafs won the game 4-1 in a very entertaining game that also showed a lot of physical moments. The hits never stopped coming. Wendell Clark was a one-man wrecking crew that night. First, he steamrolled Peter Svoboda and Patrick Roy. Later, there was a mild disagreement with Denis Savard and some of his teammates. And while the Leafs were inspired, Pat Burns was outraged, and he let Tom Watt know it. The Leaf coach pretended not to hear, but Burns vowed to get a measure of revenge. And tonight, the Habs will get another shot at the Maple Leafs, this time at the Forum. Molson Leaf Hockey on the Global Television Network. Brought to you by Molson Export. Nothing halfway about it. X says it all. The first stop on the Maple Leafs three-game road trip was Quebec, where last night the Nords and Leafs battled to stay out of last place. Toronto drew first blood when Mike Foligno found net after a nice feed from Aaron Broughton. Early in the second, Daniel Marois broke a 1-all tie with his 13th of the year, and the Leafs had the lead. In the third, Peter Zezel's power play tip-in gave the Leafs what seemed like an insurmountable 4-2 bulge. But the Nords fought back and scored twice in the last 7.5 minutes. Matt Sundin's power play goal was the equalizer in a 4-4 tie. But the North Stars won, so the gap is now 7 at the bottom of the Norris. Tonight, part 2 of our sojourn through Quebec as the Montreal Canadiens host the Maple Leafs at the Forum. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Molson Leaf Hockey on Global. I'm your host, Mark Hebscher. Pleased to be here at the Montreal Forum. The Maple Leafs still winless in 1991 after a terrific December. They haven't been able to buy a victory. And I'll tell you what, the local media here in Montreal and in the province of Quebec has been talking an awful lot about tonight's game, a rematch of sorts after the Leafs won 4-1 back in December. We asked Wendell Clark his thoughts entering tonight's game.
No, it's that's the media outside the game of hockey. Usually when the hype's up, there's nothing happening on the ice, so we just got to go out there, and our biggest concern tonight is 2 points because we need the points bad.
We wondered if Wendell and Todd Ewan had a grudge against each other, or was it just the headlines screaming?
No, I have nothing against Todd at all. I've never run into him or anything, so it's his job as the enforcer on the other club, and I guess he's got to do what he has to do to help out his hockey club.
And whenever the Leafs play in Montreal, Vincent Damphousse and Daniel Marois are usually two of the more exciting players on the ice. Pat Burns especially thinks Damphousse is extremely dangerous against the Canadiens and may send the checking line out against he and Marois and Peter Zezel. Now, as far as the Montreal Canadiens are concerned, they keep winning despite all kinds of injuries. Denis Savard, for example, not playing tonight, and he, of course, is one of the top scorers on the Montreal Canadiens. But the Canadiens continue to win, as I mentioned, to continue to play excellent hockey. As you see, 3 points back of the Boston Bruins in the Adams division. And over the last dozen games, nobody is better than Montreal. 9-2-1 after over their last dozen games. Russ Courtnall, the leading scorer for Montreal, the former Toronto Maple Leaf. Where, by the way, is John Kordic? Well, we don't know. Stéphane Richer and Savard are two of the catalysts. Richer will play. Savard will not. He has sinusitis. A sinus problem, I guess. And in goal, no problem at all. Patrick Roy, one of the NHL's best. In fact, well, let's call him the NHL's best goalie. 3 Jennings trophies, a couple of Vezinas, 3 All-Star nominations, a .279 career average, and the Leafs will have to pump a couple by him if they hope to win tonight. Let's find out some thoughts on my broadcast partners this evening, Joe Bowen and Harry Neale. Take it away, guys.
Thank you, Mark. You know, the months of December and January have been direct opposites as far as the Maple Leafs' fortune are concerned. In December, they were playing well and playing well defensively, but goals against in 1991 have been a problem.
Well, in December, when they were 7-4-1, their goals against was well below 3, as you can see, and it has doubled in the year 1991. And unless the Leafs get their defensive game back in shape, they're not going to win very often because they are anything but an offensive powerhouse.
The Montreal Canadiens on the other side of the rink are a team that at the beginning of the year, defense was looked to be a bit suspect, but a young defense corps has come along and played very well, and they're very hot.
Absolutely. Patrick Waugh, after being hurt in Toronto, has only lost 1 game, and he has had a goals against average that any goalie would be proud of. And playing behind a very young and inexperienced defense, it mystifies me how Montreal can be so good without the puck with such a young defense corps.
It's always an interesting night at the Forum when the Maple Leafs are the visitors. And this is Molson Leaf Hockey on the Global Television Network.